Yo, listen. Yo, it's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. Y'all know what that means. It's another episode of Between Two Beards. You see Pluggo. You see myself. We only have the hour tonight because there is a championship edition
of that beautiful show called Quizplex with the
following
ever
us
handsome smart
directly at 9 p.m. tonight. Same channel here, championship edition of Quizplex. So we only got the hard hour.
And if there was ever a week to talk about.
And if there was ever a week to not have the hard hour, I think this would be a week because Pluggo can't even drink properly. I don't know what the hell's going on.
He told me off air to get
off air. I told him to get his shit together, and he couldn't even sip his drink properly. So,
Pop,
you're welcome. You're welcome. I just wanted to make sure you were here, friend. I just wanted to make sure you were here. That's all. But yes, there is a lot to talk about.
We love you.
Big news at the beginning of the week. Yeah, we got Culp. We have Culp in here. Always a pleasure to see you, my friends.
I'm just waiting for his next. I'm just waiting for his next comment to be like just JPJ. The S was a mistake.
Well, I mean,
because that's what
I think at this point this is episode technically 53, but 52.
Yeah.
So I mean, technically we're a year in here. I think at this point, congrats to us. I think at this point most people know that.
Pat ourselves on the back, Champa style.
I'm the preferred. You know, no, I'm just kidding.
You know,
but all right. So
flagships.
We got a few things to talk about here, but obviously the main thing that we're going to talk about is the main thing that everybody's been talking about all week. That is true, Culp. I do not spill my drink. I do not spill my drink.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm so fired up, and you know, it's been a week. It's always a week over in the Pluggo household. What can I say? I'm barely hanging. It's holding it together, but we're here.
This is what I deal with on a weekly basis.
Big news this week. I can't wait to talk about Max Caster, right?
What about him? What happened?
Well, isn't that the big? I don't know.
No.
Is that the big news of the week? Did he wrap this? No, there was something else.
Laura the man. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for hopping in. Hello.
Welcome back.
We're about to get into this shit because we only have the hard hour tonight. We'll be out of here by 9. But yes, the big news of the week, obviously, I'm sure you've read or heard or all week. It is Sasha Banks and Naomi Monday night on Raw, walking out on WWE.
Taking that proverbial ball and going home.
Yes, this is not the first time wrestlers have walked out on WWE. So let's not act like this is the first time, even though some people on social media are acting like this is the first time. It is not. It happened last year with Ali. Like, there's a lot of people that have done it. However, this is the first time in a while that I can remember WWE taking the lengths that they have taken when it comes to this situation. They released a press statement on Monday, which they usually don't do. They didn't release one for CM Punk. They didn't release one for Cody. They didn't release one for Ali last year.
Not even that. They bashed him on air.
Yeah, they didn't release a press conference, a press statement when Two of their other competitors, Charlotte and Becky Lynch, literally had a fight in the middle of the ring. They didn't really suppress. Yeah, acting unprofessional, because they used the term unprofessional when they talked about Sasha and Naomi in the statement and on commentary. But when those two were in the ring being unprofessional on live television, nothing was ever said. You know, and obviously, and again, I see this as a very similar case. The big one that stands out to me in my lifetime is Stone Cold Steve Austin, when Stone Cold left. That's a famous story. They did on air. Vince came out, like you made the reference at the beginning of the show, Pluggo, with took the ball and went home. That was the verbiage. And Vince came out and he threw Austin under the bus. Commentary threw Austin under the bus. The other wrestlers for the rest of that Raw threw Austin under the bus. So there is precedent for stuff like that. However,
I just want everybody to keep that same energy. We're not going to. Why are we crapping on Sasha and Naomi for doing it when the greatest of all time does it? Everybody's like,
you could probably guess a few of the reasons.
Yeah,
why?
Probably could.
Probably because they're women and they might be African American.
You know.
Yeah, stuff like
that. The Twitter sphere is all they shouldn't have done it. If you go to your job, albeit your job, and they
doesn't matter what your job is. Like for them, this is like you can look at athletes, and I'm not looking at throwing that card because me being my pasty white self, can't really speak on that too much. Yes. But I would think there are undertones of that going on in this scenario. But it doesn't matter what your job is. You know, I feel like people look at athletes or WWE superstars and they know that they make a lot of money. So then they're not human. They're not human beings. Whenever they talk about politics or they talk about anything or they complain about creative or they complain about whatever, you see like the army of people that come out and they just go, ugh. You're making millions of dollars. Shut up and play. Shut up and dribble. Shut up and play. Shut up and do this. It's like, no. It doesn't matter the jobs. They're human beings. They're human beings. Like Laura the Man, I'm sorry. You're wrong. You're wrong. Where has she been a flake for 3 years? Because she cares about how she's presented on screen? If you went to work every day and you thought you were performing very well and your boss didn't give a shit about you, and openly on air, or I mean, this is a different scenario, but openly in the office, questioned, like made you look bad to the general public, made you look bad to other people, you would just sit there and take it because it's your job? You know?
You probably would because you're probably not.
I wouldn't.
You're probably not making Sasha Banks money. So it's a little tougher, but she's got options. If she doesn't feel like she's getting creatively satisfied and they're not taking care of the women's division and she feels that that's the best course of action for her,
yeah,
so be it. Doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect my day.
And WWE needs her way more than she needs WWE.
She absolutely 110% knows that.
If she could walk to Hollywood right now and be more than fine. She could walk to any other wrestling company right now and be more than fine. Same with Naomi, by the way. I feel like Naomi's kind of getting lost in the shuffle here. But yeah, like at the end of the day, if you are not happy with the place that you work, you are allowed to quit. You are allowed to quit and leave your job. That's what it is. Now, she has a contract, so that will be settled either by discussion with her and Vince, or they'll take it legally if they have to. So that will get handled. But at the same time, like, yeah, and she's in sports entertainment. Yeah, that's all well and good, but she's allowed to care about her character and about how she's presented on screen. And they were talked into doing this tag team thing when both of them really didn't want to do it. They agreed to do it, and they were told. And again, yes, and that is 100% true. It is a cult mentality that people think that she should be grateful that she has a job. And it's like, no. And Sasha herself, if you watch the Broken Skull sessions that she was on a couple years ago with Stone Cold, there's a clip that's been circling around. She openly says it. She goes, yeah, for a long time, I was the person that was like, hey, thank you for my hot dog. Thank you for my piece of pizza. Thank you for signing me. I'm just happy to be here. And then and then she said, but I've put in the work, and I'm one of the biggest stars you have. I don't eat pizza and hot dogs anymore. I eat steak and vegetables like Vince McMahon.
If we want to look at it from a strictly sports entertainment or sports world atmosphere, there is going to be very little times that I side with the $1 billion company, especially because without the Sasha Bankses of the world and the John Cena's, the Naomi's, the Roman Reigns, who you name it, the WWE isn't a success. They need them just as much as it's a hand. It should be a hand in hand partnership. And it seems like the WWE is under this mentality is like, just do it. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to release Sasha Banks. There's rumors that they might, but they're not going to release her because they know she will sign immediately wherever
do whatever she wants.
So what will they do? They won't sign her. They won't release her. They're just going to sit her out. And then what does that do? You're just paying her lots of money to sit out. My boy, like, we always forget that these athletes, as much as the WWE helps them get over, they are also bringing eyes to the product because you need superstars on your television program to be successful.
She's the biggest.
And Sasha Banks is one of the all-time greatest, one of the best all-time women's wrestlers.
Yes,
in the history of women's wrestling.
I'm saying right now, currently on their roster, she's the biggest crossover star they have.
Oh, for sure.
And the biggest crossover star they have. She does not need them. They need her more than she needs them. How's it going, Faber? Thanks for popping in, saying hello. And to address Laura the Man's comment of, if you walk off a movie set, she will get the same regard. Yeah, if you walk off a set. But the difference is when you sign a contract to do a movie, that movie's already written. So you know how the character that you're signing up or that you won the audition for to play is going to end up.
A million actors have walked off of the set.
Yeah. Well, first of all, but that's how that goes. Like in WWE and sports entertainment, that's not how it goes. You sign a contract, and if one guy decides that he's not feeling you, you don't get to go to work. You don't get to work. Or he puts you in meaningless matches where he clearly doesn't give a shit. The fans clearly aren't going to give a shit because the company doesn't give a shit. So at what point, whether you're under contract or not, if you're a talent, at what point do you not give a shit? No matter what line of work you work in. And if you know your boss doesn't give a shit about you, at some point, you're not going to give a shit about what you're doing. And you're going to be like, you know what? I'm done with this because you clearly don't care. So why am I wasting my time caring? Right. Yeah, and Laura the Man, you're right. Scripts change on the fly. Same with Raw. Vince rewrites Raws 5 minutes before the show goes live sometimes. How are you supposed to, you know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable. Yeah. If halfway through production of Die Hard, they turn to Bruce Willis and say, actually, your character's now a doofus, he's not going to go along with it. That is a perfect example by our friend in Pop Couture. That is a perfect example of how WWE is. Not with everybody. Roman, Charlotte, and at times Sasha, which is why this is so baffling to me, because from time to time, they present Sasha as the megastar she is. But then when it comes to this, they're just like, and this whole thing, if you read the Fightful Select report, you read the statement, you hear what Corey, and again, off the top, those people out there that are getting mad at Corey Graves, you're big children. Cut it out. The dude is being fed a line to say on air, which is his job. Mm-hmm. He was just doing his job. So I see people, not so much anymore because we're days past it, but like those first couple days, there were people on social media like giving Corey Graves shit. Like, I understand we're like humans are at their all-time worst right now. Like in general, as a species, we are just trash, more trash than ever. But like, I understand that. But at the same time, it's like, bruh, what is going on? And if you follow the Fightful Select report, they said that, or at least some of the reports that you hear from multiple people, they've said that the reason why Vince released a statement and had Corey say all that stuff was because he was mad and he doesn't like, I believe Peter Rosenberg on the Cheap Heat podcast said he heard, and he works for WWE. So again, don't know the source, don't know the legitimacy of it, but this is what he said. He said that he heard that the reason that they went the lengths that they went was because Vince was very upset because he doesn't like putting on, He doesn't like having to cancel matches that were advertised.
Oh, I'm sure he doesn't.
Even though he does it bi-weekly on his weekly television.
Name a job anywhere where the boss is stoked that you walked out. No boss is ever. Yeah, of course he's not happy, but he should have in this situation maybe took the higher ground and just
Vince. What do we know? Look, and don't get me wrong.
I'm not saying that Vince is going to Vince. I'm not saying, but in a normal person,
yeah,
maybe
and like
JPJ, like if you and I fought before this show and you and I had it out, we didn't agree on whatever the hell it is we're going to do tonight. We would not 2 minutes before the show. If you bailed, I would sit there and I would say, all right, well, JPJ's on assignment. We handle it later.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to come on.
JPJ
and be like,
has the week off or
guy,
whatever.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and that
because this sounds like something that if they probably could resolve it, and they should take these tag team titles serious. If you're gonna force Sasha and Naomi, who should be in your main event title scene at all times, if you're gonna force them to be tag champions, and you want those tag titles to mean something, but you did put them on 2 former women's champs, let them have a say in it. Let them elevate it. Don't throw them in scramble matches, especially when you've got a roster full of women that are just sitting and catering, not doing a damn thing. And you could have thrown them in that scramble match and maybe gave something meaningful to Sasha and Naomi instead of always relying on, let's put them in the title picture. Let's have some dissension. Oh no, what if Sasha and Naomi get mixed up in this scramble? Like, it's just, and I would be upset about that too. Like, I understand it's a scripted show. You got to write, you got to do your part, blah, blah, blah. But these people, this is their image just as much as it's the WWE's image. I know the WWE likes to own it, but why aren't they trying to capitalize on a Sasha Banks's mainstream appeal? Why aren't you pushing that? It brings more people to your TV screens. I'm going to use the example. It's apples and oranges compared to this situation, but like the Bella twins, right? They became mainstream appeal stars. My wife is not a wrestling fan, saw them, liked them, fell in love with their stuff they were doing on the E Network and all this fun stuff. And then she started watching a little bit of wrestling and getting involved and kind of now knows what's going on. Why wouldn't you want to use that? Why wouldn't you want to use your top women's star to get those tag titles back to prominence? Like, I don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense.
Back to prominence. They haven't been prominent since they debuted them.
They haven't been prominent since Sasha and Bailey had them. They were at the peak when Sasha and Bailey had them. I'm just saying, it's been a while. It's been 2 years.
It's baffling to me how so many people jump. And again, like, if you want to make the actual argument of whether them walking out of the show while the show is on air is professional or unprofessional, I'm willing to have that discussion. Do I think they could have handled it better than probably walking out? Yeah, probably. They probably, as someone who is in charge of people with my shoot job and manages people, yeah, I would prefer one of my employees to not walk out and have a discussion with me, even though the reports say that there was a discussion, and Vince, being what we've heard of Vince, stubborn, and Sasha is not one to shy away from standing up for herself, so she was being stubborn too, and whatever. And I agree with Law the Man. Naomi does seem to be the one, and again, she is her own person, so it's hard when it gets to Naomi, and I feel like Naomi is a grown woman. Mm-hmm. She can make her own decisions. She's her own person. But her old tag partner there, and take this for what it's worth, because this seems like there's kind of maybe an angle or so behind it. But her own old tag team partner on the Funkadactyls came out and said that she doesn't think that Naomi would do something like this unless she was being manipulated. Okay? Again, don't know. But I'm assuming that if Naomi truly was like, nah, I don't feel like we should do this, she wouldn't have done it. She would have said, all right, Sasha, do what you got to do. I respect you. I'm behind you, but I'm going to chill. I'm going to chill because I don't agree with this. At least that's my personal opinion, because she is an adult who can make her own decisions. So again, and if you're Naomi and Sasha and you're the women's tag team champions and you accepted you were presented this, hey, at WrestleMania, we're not going to have you near the top of the women's division, but we want you to carry these titles. and you think about it and you agree, and then after you win the titles, you see the company that promised you one thing fall back to the same old bullshit that they do with these titles, you're going to be pissed off. You're going to be angry, and you're going to go in there. And the reason why this happened was because they were thrown into this 6-women scramble match with the winner being the number one contender for Bianca. Naomi was apparently supposed to win that. And so it was going to, at Hell in a Cell, it was going to be Naomi versus Bianca. And then the rumor, not confirmed, but the rumor was that Sasha was possibly going to fight Ronda. So you're going to have the 2 tag team champions not defending their tag team championships, but going for each of the main titles and losing both of them.
If that's the rumor, that's interesting that they would stand up for themselves in this scenario, right? It's obviously because they want something more for the division as a whole.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And if you read the fight, I have the Fightful Select thing up. I have the WWE statement up as well. But like, that's what was going to happen. So for people that say, are they ever happy or this or that, they were going to be in the world title pictures, both of these women, in the respected brands, at least according to rumor. That's what Naomi was. Fightful reported and confirmed that Naomi was winning that scramble on Monday. So Naomi at least was fighting at Hell in a Cell against Bianca for the Raw Women's Championship. That was a guarantee.
We see this shit all the time. We see it in sports when a quarterback or a college quarterback, the NFL says, no, we want you at running back. We don't want you at quarterback. We want you at receiver. And then they say, nope, I'm not playing for you. I'm going to go play here. We see it all the time. And then we always forget that these people in this company, they're artists. Wrestling is an art. These are characters that they play, that they devote their lives to, that they dive deep into, that they give their all to. And they want this to be just as successful as the WWE wants them to be successful so they can keep making money. But the second anybody stands up for themselves and says, no, I think that creative is shit, I don't want to do it, I don't like it, then they're not team players. Like Ali had behavior issues. Sasha,
Bray
Naomi,
Wyatt, difficult to work with. Keith Lee, difficult to work. Everybody that had issues with how they were being presented creatively, they're difficult to work with.
Like,
no, your creative's bullshit. It's been bullshit for a decade. That's why you don't have any new fucking stars. And the one that you do have, you're gonna let walk out the door because you have 5 hours, 7 hours if you include NXT. You have 7 hours.
Nobody includes NXT.
No, you shouldn't anymore. But you have 5 hours of television. You have the Raw Women's Champions, who are 2 of the biggest female stars in your company, both former world champions. Sasha, multiple times world champion. One of the 4 horsemen. We know the laundry list of, 8 if you include main event. Laugh out loud. Yes. You have 8 hours of television, and you can't devote 1 segment a week for the women's tag team champions? You can't.
And make it meaningful.
And creative. Why don't you ask them what they want to do? You don't think they have fucking ideas?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? It's unbelievable. And it's also unbelievable how so many people, and it's not just in this case, it's in all cases, but like, I'm one of those people, I always side with the workers. And like, it's just bizarre to me how so many people, what's that? Have your house falling apart?
I think so.
I heard that.
Floor's about to cave.
Somebody fall up there?
Woo!
Oh, they doing wrestling? Are they having a wrestling match up there? Diving off shit?
Well, right.
We'll
get into that later. Keep going.
So many people automatically just come out and like defend WWE and like defend. And you can make this more than just a wrestling thing. Like defend Amazon, like whatever. I just don't understand the mindset of like. I'm one of those people where like 99.9% of the time, I'm always going to defend the workers because those are the little people, regardless of how much money they make, actors. I don't give what you do, but like, I just think it's very bizarre for most people to see what happened on Monday and come out of the woodworks and be like, oh, WWE, they did what? What do you expect? It's their job. It's like, it's just so bizarre to me.
Yeah,
it's so bizarre to me.
It is their job, but they also should have a say in what their job. Like if you went to work every single day and your job told you you have no value, no opinion. You do what we say, and then you're going to want to go somewhere else where you're more stimulated and your opinion is more valid and what you say matters. Like, I think about your own place of employment right now. It's easier for Sasha and Naomi to walk out because they got millions of dollars. It's an easy thing to do. They've got more money than I could ever dream of.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you this, like, if I go to work tomorrow, my boss says whatever you say does not matter here. Just do exactly what I tell you to do and don't ever have an opinion or don't ever try to better what we're doing here. I might start looking elsewhere.
Yeah, you're not going to be satisfied, and you're probably going to leave that job. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit because that was news that broke a little bit before we got on the air today. Yeah, so in the WWE statement, they said, when Sasha Banks and Naomi arrived at the arena this afternoon, they were informed of their participation in the main event of tonight's Monday Night Raw. During the broadcast, they walked into WWE Head of Talent Relation John Laurinaitis' office with their suitcases in hand, placed their tag team championship belts on his desk, and walked out. They claimed they weren't respected enough as tag team champions, and even though they had 8 hours to rehearse and construct their match, they claimed they were uncomfortable in the ring with 2 of their opponents, even though they'd had matches with those individuals in the past with no consequence. Monday Night Raw is a scripted live television show whose characters are expected to perform the requirements of their contract. We regret we were unable to deliver, as advertised, tonight's main event. Now, I got a few problems with this statement. I just got a few problems. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let me strap in.
I got a few problems with this.
I
have a feeling, and again, I still feel like this is Thursday. Obviously, some stuff has been reported and confirmed by Fightful, by Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful and stuff like that. But we haven't heard Naomi or Sasha's side of this story yet. They have not spoken. The only side of the story that we have heard is WWE's and sources from people like Sean and others that have talked to people inside WWE. So we still have not heard Sasha or Naomi's reasoning or side of this story. So we don't have all the details. So just keep that in mind as we
wonder if we will, if there's some kind of like,
I don't know, maybe. I don't know, but
rule
we'll see.
that they can't speak on it.
No, I think they should be able to. If WWE can speak on it. Although, whatever. My problem is the line where it says they claimed they were uncomfortable in the ring with 2 of their opponents. And first of all, on the J&J Power Hour, which we released early because we had to talk about this, Josh said this. He goes, "Oh, they put the even though in the statement, like the condescending, like, oh, even though, it's just But they say uncomfortable in the ring with 2 of their opponents, even though they had matches with those individuals in the past. To me, that seems to me, and I wouldn't put it past Vince. And again, this is just me thinking right now. This is not.
That puts
haven't
your
heard
locker
it,
room
not reported. Correct. To me, that is WWE wording that in a way that the locker room will get angry with Sasha and Naomi. That's how I view that.
The even though thing is very just because 2 weeks ago I had a banger match with whoever and it went well and I didn't get injured doesn't mean that maybe, and I'm just spitballing. There's nothing behind this. Maybe the people that they were going to get in the ring with weren't 100% that day. Maybe they rehearsed it and maybe we'll just throw a name out there for fun. Maybe Nikki was off that day. Maybe they didn't feel comfortable getting in the ring with her because of whatever. I'm not saying that, obviously. I don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm just saying the WWE is tailoring this statement because, of course, they are the $1 billion company. They're going to get the first shot. They're going to obviously curve this to their narrative because there's 2 sides to every story. Any story you tell, different perspectives. And I'm sure Sasha Naomi's perspective is not that. That's all I'm going to say. So, yeah, they're trying to put that locker room against Naomi and Sasha so that...
That's how I view it.
Yeah.
So I view it as Vince saying, you know what? I'm pissed off. So we're releasing this statement and we're going to make them look like they didn't want to work with certain people. So the rest of the locker room gets like, oh, what the hell is that about? Why they thinking that way? They think they're better than like it creates dissension amongst the own locker room. And I think that I wouldn't be shocked. Again, there's no reports, there's no anything that has been reported about that. But like, to me, when I first read that on Monday, I was like, why would you put that line in there? Like, why would you put that in there?
As Vince McMahon would say, fuck him.
Well, yeah, because he's a petty old man. But like, I just don't understand that. You could have easily just not included that line and said they claim they weren't respected enough as tag team champions. Monday Night Raw is a scripted live TV show whose characters are blah, blah, blah. You could have not put that in there.
Yeah.
And you could have kept the whole statement the same, mentioned how they left the belts, they walked out, they said they weren't respected enough as tag champs. We apologize. We couldn't but to specifically put that in there, that they did not feel comfortable working with two of the opponents who they've wrestled before with no problems. It just seems to me that it's like, yeah.
Sasha and Naomi screwed Sasha.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's the thing too. It's like we always talk about like somebody needs to stand up to creative. This creative sucks. I don't care if you're a diehard WWE fan and you live and breathe the E, that's fine. But you can't honestly sit there and tell me week in and week out it is the best programming the WWE's ever put out. It's not. It's been bad. They have great moments. They have bright spots, but they have consistently dog shit storylines. And we're always like, somebody needs to stand up to Vince. But the thing is, when somebody does it, then all of a sudden they're problems. What are we talking about here?
Yep. It's yeah. And there's gonna be more that comes out. It's gonna, they're gonna work it out. And they're either going to come back or they're not going to come back. We might hear from them. We might not. I mean, we only have the hour tonight. We've already talked for over 30 minutes on it. Like,
how long do you think till we see them in WWE ring again?
I think it's going to be a little bit. It has to be, right? Especially Sasha. Like, I don't know. I don't like the whole, I don't know. It just seems like very, very petty to me. And from everything that we know of Vince McMahon, the whole, and again, I'm not mad at Corey Graves because he's doing his job, but like the whole feeding them the line and like specifically calling them unprofessional, like specifically calling them that multiple times. It's like, man, come on, dude. Like, and just rubbed me the wrong way. It just rubbed me and again, I'm not even sitting here and telling you that walking out was the best thing that they could have done. No, I feel like they probably could have handled it better, but how it went down, it just seemed like the reaction from Vince was very...
And maybe Vince could have handled it better. Who knows what he said?
Very petty. Very petty.
Who knows what was said in that room? I wasn't there.
Yeah, none of us were.
I don't know. I have no idea. But all I know is anybody that's out there tweeting and posting about how Sasha and Naomi lost a fan today, super unprofessional. I better not catch you in a Stone Cold Steve Austin t-shirt walking down the street.
Yeah, or cheering for Cody when he comes out on Raw every Monday, or Ali, or CM Punk if you watch AEW because he did the same shit too.
Yeah,
the same stuff's been going. Stone Cold walked out in 2002, guys. That was 20 years ago. Some things never change.
Punk did it.
And then what's the one common denominator of who's been there for the last 20 years? It's the old man who at this point has billions of dollars, is older than he was, more stubborn than he was. Yeah. No, that's not how that goes.
Yeah.
Anyway, geez Louise. God. Good for them. Sometimes you got to stand up for yourself. Sometimes, and again, more importantly, you need to know your worth. And that's anybody. That's you, Pluggo. That's me. That's Laura the Man and Pop Couture. Anybody in the chat, no matter what your line of work is, it doesn't even matter about line of work. You need to know your worth. Ecto guy, all of us. Everyone needs to know their worth. And Sasha knows her worth, and she's not afraid to stand up for her worth. And if she feels like it's not getting honored, she's out the fucking door, and good for her, because she should be.
And that's the thing.
And that's just how it is.
If this was, if this was Lacey Evans, we wouldn't be talking about this. We would be talking about it, but it wouldn't matter as much because everybody's pinpointing because Sasha's done this before. She should. Mm-hmm. She's a star.
Yep.
Stars, I don't care. Any stars get what they want, and she knows. Yep. She knows that this isn't the end for her. WWE is not the end for her. She walks out, they cut her. She go do whatever she wants. And I know it's a silly way to look at it. It's kind of saying like it's okay if you're a star to not act right. But in these situations, it's not like she was out drunk driving and killed somebody. She just didn't like what they said. She didn't like the creative.
Yeah, she didn't like how she was being booked.
If you're, she didn't like how she was being perceived or booked, she walked out on her job. The end of the story. Okay, great. If the WWE brings her back, good for them. If they don't, she's got plenty of options. She'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to sit here and act like she committed the biggest sin in the world. Antonio Brown did it. And I bet you if somebody will sign him eventually,
Mm-hmm. People walk
athletes,
out. People walk out from everywhere.
Mid-sporting, we don't talk about them. People don't shake. It's all over. Stars do it in movies, TV, all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Like, dude, there's strikes. I live in Massachusetts. This week there was a whole town of teachers went on strike. Yeah. A whole town went on strike for 2 days before they could reach an agreement because they were tired of their working conditions. It's the same shit.
Yeah.
It's the same shit. Just because you make hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars doesn't mean that they don't have struggles with work or the people that they work with. Like, we got to stop. And I get it. All of us that aren't hundreds of thousands of dollar makers or millionaires, we look at it and we go, well, if we made that much money, everything would be fine for us. We wouldn't be complaining. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Because you would be. Because eventually, if you make that much money, that becomes your lifestyle, and you don't think of yourself making that much money because you're just used to making that much money.
Yeah,
and then guess what? You get frustrated with people you work with. You get frustrated with your boss. It's the same shit. Whether you're making $9 million or $9 an hour, it's the fucking same.
And the contracts in WWE, when you're and you're on TV and you're in matches and you're performing and you're a face, you're a heel, your T-shirt sales, all of it is like important. It all makes sense. And once you become the level
WrestleMania.
of
Good to see you, my friend.
Up,
thanks for
buddy?
popping in there, brother. Yeah,
I don't complain about the budget. Spencer complains about the budget. Yeah. I blow the budget every week because I know my worth, Riles Mania. And if Spencer Love ever tried to shut us down, Reese, sorry, I can't read. I'm too far away.
Unbelievable.
You know what? I can't get my shit together. My point is, Spenny Love came in, he tries to shut down the budget.
He does. He's tried quite.
But he knows the superstars when he sees them. No, now I've lost my whole train of thought. But my point is, this shit it happens. All of this stuff matters. Sasha Banks, would you make her out to be one of the 4 horsewomen? She wants to be treated as such, and she should be treated as such.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would you want to give her the task? Give her the task. Take the ball. Let her run with those tag titles, like you said earlier. Put her input on it. See where it goes. If you're going to rely on her as much as you guys have in the past, to the point where we've said you guys need to start figuring out the next 4, because eventually these 4 are going to leave, and it looks like one of them is 1 foot out the door, ready to walk. She's already out the door. Mm-hmm. Now you're down to 3, and you can't just rely, because that's the thing too. I bet you Sasha Banks played hurt many times for them. Did storylines she didn't want to do. Maybe she works the matches with people. She's on a level now where she didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
LeBron James ain't going to play against no college. He doesn't play in the Olympics anymore because he's above that. He doesn't have to.
Yeah. He doesn't even play half the games during the regular season. He looks at the schedule and goes, "Yeah, this is a night off for me.
He doesn't have to.
I need to rest. I need to rest up. This is a night off." And the coach goes, "Oh yeah, whatever you say."
Yeah, whatever you say. You're at that level. Once you hit that level, you're.
Thank you, Throwback. Good to see you in here, man. Thanks for popping in. Yeah, man. We're talking obviously
Obi-Wan
Sasha
Kenobi.
That's what he's saying. I should be Obi-Wan. But like Laura the Man earlier says, they can fire again. He just had a comment where it says they can fire you at no notice. So you know how Sasha for these last 2 years has seen all these people get released. Some of her friends, some of her coworkers, some of in the same division as her, who she wrestled numerous times. She's seen WWE literally just get rid of people like this. Doesn't matter, tenure, whatever. See you later, out the door. You don't think she's thinking of that too? Well, they could get rid of me at any. I mean, I think she thinks they won't because she's Sasha Banks. But you know what I mean? Like at any point, if Vince decided, yeah, all right, I'm done with this person, they're gone. Yeah. But she's not allowed to stand up for herself and be like, okay, well, I'm done with this creative, so I'm gone. You can dump me whenever you want. I'm dumping this creative because it's horseshit. It's terrible, and I don't want to deal with it. But all right, I'll leave it at that. We talked about it for almost 40 minutes.
She's unprofessional.
All right, a couple quick hitters, and then we'll talk about some jokers and Dynamite. I want to talk about the news, and someone mentioned it earlier. I believe it was Laura the Man. Stephanie McMahon on Twitter a little bit earlier, a couple hours ago, tweeted that as of tomorrow, she will be stepping away from her duties in WWE to focus on her family. She said in the tweet, she said that she hopes to come back at some point because it's obviously that work is a lifetime of work for her. But she's stepping away to be with her family, according to her. I don't think I don't think the situation we just talked about has anything to do with that situation. However, that's pretty out of the blue news. Like Stephanie is basically like when you listen to their like quarterly calls and stuff, it goes like Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon. Like that, she's always on those calls. She does all the charity stuff. Like she's a very visual figure in the hierarchy of WWE. And for her to step away, that's a big deal. That's a little bit of a big deal. It's kind of out of the blue. That's kind of a shock.
Well, good for her.
I mean, take the time, dude. Go be with your family. You're a billionaire for crying out loud.
I'm going to take it at face value, and I'll say this: Stephanie McMahon has been in this business, at least on screen, since she was a teenager,
like 16, 17 years old.
Yeah, and she's been a part. And I'll be honest with you. Family's important, and sometimes things happen, and I can tell you on a personal level, like I've got family stuff that goes on that it's like some days I'm like, I gotta focus. Sometimes my job, I've had to leave work to deal with those kind of things, and maybe there's something going on there, maybe there's not, I don't know, but good for her. If you need to focus on your family, get your family life right. Maybe she just wants to enjoy the family life because her kids are getting older, and I can tell you as a father of 4, that time goes quicker than we think. I know 18 years is seems like a long time, but I can promise you wake up one day and your oldest son has starting to grow chin hairs, and you're like, wait, when did that happen, bro? My oldest son is taller than me. When did that happen? He was this big like a week ago. You know what I'm saying? So I can respect that, especially, given Hunter having health issues. I know he's back, but he had some health issues. Maybe she just needs a break, and I got to respect her for it because family's got to come first because you only get one of them.
Yeah, 100%.
And that family to you can mean whatever you want it to mean. Friends can be family. It doesn't matter. My point is take care of your business. Obviously, there'll be a job for her when she comes back. Like, I don't think we'll never see Stephanie McMahon.
I don't think we got to worry about that.
Yeah, I think she's good. And take your time, enjoy life, because, like I said, those kids you only have them for so long until they grow up and become their own people and start doing their own things and become too busy for mom and dad. So if that's what she's doing, awesome.
And absolutely, Stephanie does 100% deserve her time. Everybody deserves their time. If you
especially given some of the dog shit storylines her dad made her do back in the
day. For the love of God. All right. Oh, we got our friend Smarkmouth. Stick around here in just about a little over 15 minutes.
Oh, the GOAT.
You're gonna see Smarkmouth there. Zark hosting Quizplex. We'll be hard out at 9 tonight as there's another wonderful episode of Quizplex. So thank you for hopping in here, and thank you for the fine words, my friend. We appreciate you tremendously. All right.
Stuart Garvey, I hope he wins tonight, basically because he beat my best friend Kyle Davis.
Fair.
Go Stuart. I hope you win simply on that. But
there you go.
Champions Edition, bro. It's going to be and then after that, if I'm not mistaken, it's a triple threat tonight. We might as well pause and reset for a second. Major Love Wrestling popping off with our boys Bobby Munson and Papa Smokes talking MLW. It's a big night here at Love Wrestling. Kicking off with us. You only get us for an hour, I know, but we'd like to pave the way for the rest of the team. We got to pass that ball once in a while. We got to do our thing. Zach's always so good to us, so we definitely have no problem cutting it short on one night a month for him because he's an awesome dude. He helps us out a lot. So stay tuned after us. Check those shows out. Let them know that we sent you. Call Zark. Zark, make sure you mention how much of an alien he is in all the comments. I'm just kidding.
All right.
Anyway, what's that
I wanna
other
talk
quick hitter you got?
Ric Flair.
Woo! I think I have a Ric Flair T-shirt on. Actually.
Do you? Anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah.
Again, very quick hitter. How do we feel? How we feeling about Ric Flair making
Flair
his
might be an alien.
comeback to the squared circle for one last time at the age of I think like 73 or something like that. Dude was on a deathbed 3 years ago.
I know this. Bad
Okay.
idea.
I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page there.
It's Ric Flair, and it's his last match. Yeah, he's an all-timer, and we should celebrate him in some way. But I don't think that this is you don't want to be the wrestling promotion that had some catastrophe happen. You just don't want that. I don't want to see it. Don't put him in, because Ric Flair, Ric Flair is not going to phone it in.
Yeah.
He's going to go hard. He's going to do his thing. He's going to bleed. He's going to hit all the classic spots. He's Ric Flair. He's a showman. He always has been, always will be. This ain't it.
My thing is, even if Rick wants to come back, if you're a company, even with it being Ric Flair, like, how can you feel 100% comfortable?
You can't.
About booking that match, especially knowing his health problems. Like, age is one thing. Mae Young wrestled super late. There's been plenty of people that have wrestled.
Rock and Roll Express still.
Yes, there have been plenty of people that have wrestled well into their late 60s, 70s. Like, I'm not worried about the age. What I'm worried about is Rick almost died like 3 years ago.
Yeah. And
he did not have good health. He had to have I'm not going to think of the word because I'm not smart, but like, the bag that helps you go to the bathroom. He had to, there were rumors that he had that. Like, he's like, even if you've watched the videos where he's training with Jay Lethal, like, I'm cringing the whole time. Like, I'm watching it going like, this guy could pass away at any, like, God forbid, you know what I mean? And I just feel like if you're running a company, I understand, like, hey, this is Ric Flair. We want to get Ric Flair now, but like you said, do you want to be the company that's known for, hey, remember that time Ric Flair had his last match and
his last breath?
This happened and it was something bad? Like, dude, is it worth it? Is it worth a 10-minute tag match where Rick's going to,
and even
what's he going to do? He's going to give some chops, a low blow, maybe take out a knee, do the figure four.
Who's also
no, that got canceled. I think that report got taken away. I think.
Did it? Okay, because I haven't seen
the original report was that he was going to be a one-on-one match against Ricky Steamboat, which I have way more faith that Ricky Steamboat could have a good match now than Rick. But I think that got thrown out. I think that got canceled.
That Mae Young, when she was wrestling, that was cringe. That was tough. I love Mae Young, but 90-year-old Mae Young, that was tough to watch when she's going through tables and stuff. It's just with everything we know now, and I know that there's ways that they can have a safe match, but you just don't want to take that risk. It's the risk outweighs the reward. Like, what ultimately you get a few bucks here. You get to be the promotion that said you got Ric Flair's last match. Like, that's great, but if just one thing goes wrong, and you see it with peak professional athletes, at one misstep and you're net, you're out, you're done, and like, you just don't want to see that. And I just like, have him come out, have him honored, do some chops onto somebody, have him strut, wave goodbye, and call it a day. But have a full blown match again. I don't know how long it's going to be. I can't imagine it's going to be more than 5 minutes.
I mean.
But I mean, are you going to watch it?
No.
Are you intrigued enough to watch it, or you just want no?
I'm probably going to watch StarCast as a whole, because they've announced some actually like stuff I'm looking forward to on there. So like, if it's on there, like, it's going to be hard not to at least be like, I gotta see this shit. But I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it at all. He's too old. He's been through too much shit. I understand he's one of those guys you look at that you were always like, oh, he's going to wrestle until he's dead. I don't really need that to happen.
No,
I just don't really need it to happen.
I think he's good. I think he's done enough. I saw a tweet. Ric Flair put out a tweet. He said, who should be my last match?
and somebody retweeted and they said Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 24.
Yeah.
Even though that wasn't really his last match because he
Right.
went to TNA after that. But like,
Yeah.
that was like, yeah, that probably should have been. Like, why do we keep it that way? Like, you're already done.
I mean, you
show up.
you,
If you want to get in the ring and give a couple, I don't even care if he gets in the ring and puts the figure 4 on somebody. Fine. I don't want you taking a back body drop. I don't want you getting the body slam off the corner. If you do your little fancy, like, no. I don't need any of that. You're 75 years old. You almost passed away, like within the last handful. I don't need that.
But
Give
this
a
is the
couple
thing.
chops, put the figure 4 on, and go home. If you're gonna do anything, you should not be taking a bump.
And I know we just trashed him. Yeah, it's 21 Savage Riddler Drip is dope. That's such a good song. But I know we spent 40 minutes talking shit about the WWE. But if the WWE is not willing to have Ric Flair's last match, or AEW, or Impact, or it's Rick is going to want. Rick has been angling to wrestle forever. I think that's why he left the WWE when he had that cushy contract and asked to get out of that, because he wanted to do more, and they were just like, Rick, it's not going to happen, buddy. Like, we're not going to clear you to do that, because the WWE, for all the shit, they do take injuries very serious. They do take that. Though Bailey has not been rushed back for a reason, because they don't feel comfortable putting her in the ring yet. Because if she was ready to go, she'd already be on TV because she's that damn good. So somebody has to step in and be like, Rick, this ain't it, man. Like, you've had the career. Nobody's going to think any less of you if you don't do it. Enjoy your years. But unfortunately, there's that underbelly of like, cash is king. We don't need to make morally good decisions. We're just going to take the money, get the cash grab. Whatever happens, happens. All press is good press vibe, I guess. I don't feel good about. I don't feel good about it, bro. I'm intrigued, but I don't want to see it, but I will, because it'll show up everywhere. It'll be all over social media. It's going to be hard not to see it.
Yep. All right. You'll notice that we're not talking about AEW tonight at all. That's because I had to work the shoot job last night. So Pluggo was with Astrid on All Elite Sidecast. So I hope you tuned into that. You would have heard them watching and talking about Dynamite, but we're not going to talk about Dynamite. Good, buddy? Yeah, we're not going to talk about Dynamite tonight.
But we'll talk about the Jokers, right?
Yeah, we'll talk about the Jokers for a few, but we only have like 5 minutes or so, and we got to talk about Star Wars, bro.
Are we going to do that, or are we going to...
You watched it, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah, so damn right we are.
All right, we were running close to the clock.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't want to talk about Dynamite. But the Jokers were Johnny Elite, one John Morrison, which I thought was pretty cool. And then Maki Ito, which I thought was fine as well. I thought those were both fine. They both lost, which I think is good. I think every surprise doesn't have to be CM Punk, and every surprise isn't going to be CM Punk. And I think
every surprise should be promoted as if it was going to be CM Punk, because that's your job as a promoter is to put the shit over.
Correct.
Haters.
But see, Bo tuned in specifically for Empire. You know what I'm saying?
Boy.
That's why we're doing it. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a spot read now. We're going to do a spot read now, and then we're going to dedicate 5 minutes.
5 good
to minutes. Empire Strikes Back. But before that, you've heard us talking about this for a long time now. You need to make sure that your balls and your private area are clean and that they're feeling good.
They're smooth.
And you go to manscaped.com, you type in that promo code Love Wrestling, you get 20% off plus free shipping worldwide.
Worldwide, baby.
Worldwide. Anywhere you live, doesn't matter. You put in that code, you get the 20% off, and you get the free shipping. The Lawnmower 4.0, the Crop Preserver, they have ball wipes, they have nose hair and ear hair trimmers, which are excellent. They have products that have nothing to even do with your balls, but their specialty is making sure your balls are looking fresh and smelling fresh and looking clean. That is so. Head on over to manscaped.com, put in that code Love Wrestling, get 20% off, and get free shipping. All right. Without further ado, play the thing, Alex, and let's talk Star Wars before we get out of here.
Yeah, buddy.
Pluggo reviews Star Wars. Meh, 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 meh.
Man, we might have to part 2 this thing because this was what? The Empire Strikes
This is
Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
This is number 2. This one was much better than A New Hope, in my opinion. There was more action. There was more stuff going on. They spent the first movie just explaining everybody, I guess, and giving them back like some backstory. So I was like, it was very slow and kind of dragged out. But this one had like action at the beginning. Like my first notice was they were in like snow this time, and there was an abominable snowman.
Mm-hmm.
And Skywalker's hanging out with him and kills him, and then Han Solo saves him, and Princess Leia. Everybody's into Princess Leia in this entire universe. They all mac on her, all of them. Lando Calrissian, spitting Gabe Chewie was probably looking at her, when he's standing in the. Just everybody was. She's like playing. She's playing Han Solo. She's playing Luke too. She kissed both of them. It was love story throughout. What is that?
Hoth was where they were in the snow.
It was Hoth. Okay, I didn't know what it was called. Those big old machine things, those were wild. And then that's just like I said, it was more action throughout. There was more to follow. Like Darth Vader, like really kind of came into his own. And this whole movie, I'm thinking he could kill Luke Skywalker at any time. Why didn't he just kill him? And the whole movie, I'm like, why didn't he just kill him? Like he could just do it. He's got the power. Because he's his damn father. He was trying to make a man out of Luke. He was like, I don't want to kill you, but I could kill you. So I was like, oh, shit. What?
You didn't know that?
No. Well, I
really?
mean,
you know the famous line.
Yeah,
of course, the line, right? Luke, I am your father.
Well, like, you're in the shit.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I got you.
I'm like,
I got you.
Oh, holy hell. And then cuts his damn hand off. Dude's got one hand. Should have ended it right there, Darth. What were you doing? He was saving him because he loves his son. That shit was wild.
Yeah.
Lando Calrissian, I thought he was a bad guy. And now I'm like super intrigued on Han Solo because like people be making comments about how he's kind of like a piece of shit. Like he owes all these people money. Lando Calrissian's like, that's my shit, bro. And he's like, I want it fair and square, which you say when you didn't actually win it fair and square. So I'm interested to see what goes on there in the next one. This one was much better. I don't have a lot of time to keep going, but I will say that I had more fun watching this one, and I had to watch it under the wire because Pluggo's busy. And I literally finished it like 20 minutes.
Well, next week when we dive in, we'll have a normal time slot. And when we dive into the third one, which is Return of the Jedi, which is the end of the first trilogy of movies.
Which I'm super confused about that because I spent 20 minutes watching that by mistake. And now I'm like, why are they in the fucking desert? Because it didn't end with them in a desert.
Well, now hopefully it'll make sense to you when you go back and you watch it now. And so what we'll do is we'll kind of readdress Empire. And then we'll go into Jedi because we'll have more time next week because we won't be constricted to the hour.
Han Solo's in like a carbon freeze. He's like dead maybe, but he's not. And then I don't know. And then I don't know, man. It was like I just there's so much going on in that one. I actually might rewatch the back half of that one just to kind of like.
I would.
And then go right into the
next one. Jedi. I think that would be a solid thing to do.
Because I felt like there was some stuff that I might have missed along the way that I was like, wait a minute, that makes sense now. But like I said, that's one. And again, I rated the first one too. I give this one like a 4.
4 out of 5?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
take it. I'm going to say Empire
was like super confused for the first one.
Yeah. And we got to get out of here. But Empire is, I think, considered by many, not all, but many, to be the best movie of the Skywalker saga. I agree with Bo. Mind will explode. Mind will explode. But on that note,
Yoda, I forgot to talk about Yoda. We'll talk about him.
We're going to talk about Yoda. On that note, we got to get the hell out of here. We have like a minute left.
Quizplex, Major Love
Quizplex, Championship Edition. Empire, I agree, Bo. It is the best one. It is my favorite one. We're going to talk a little bit more about it next week. So be here, and then we'll talk about Jedi. But stay on this channel. If you like trivia, we will. If you like trivia, we have a wrestling trivia game every third Thursday here on Love Wrestling called Quizplex. Tonight is a Champions edition of Quizplex. It's going to be starting in less than a minute here on this channel. As you can see, follow Pluggo at @Pluggo_. Follow me at Joseph_Poulin Jr. Follow Between Two Beards, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere. Give us a follow, but more importantly, stay here right now because we're going to get out of here and Quizplex is going to start momentarily. So until next week, for Pluggo,
I
for
bloody
JPJ,
love trivia too, baby.
always trivia rules. Peace out. Go Celtics.